Hello, this is the International News of Lisa Luciardi. I appreciate you taking this message. I wanted to talk about the seriousness
of the wars and the tragedies
and the violence against humanity. Today, we do
not need to have wars. We have
enough commodities because of
technology and information systems to excavate and share in land easements and share with each nation. We don't have to have
any more wars. We could come to peace.
There's so many
commodities on the onset. We asked that, and I asked that, and I apologize. I feel so terrible that they haven't done this.
And we don't need to have any more
wars in this time and age, because there's
beautiful commodities and
sharing of information systems
and so many leverage we could use. And this is what I asked before.
I'm the one that was coining that idea, and to use commodities to share with each other, because every land has enough commodities to exist. It doesn't need anyone else. It shows that China just found $83 billion worth of gold. They don't need to do that. They don't need to
use drugs
or go into a country to kill it or
support Islamic regime. They have everything they need. And today we have computer systems technology to find everything we need. We do not need wars.
And I wanted to show you this, that my name is Lisa Luciardi, independent organization committed to restoring USA
and humanity,
solutions of God's intentions for all creation. And this
is my first book, 2016, but I began this work
in 2007. So I wanted to show you
some information systems today about,
for example, they're coming together.
In the meeting, nearly 2 million Russians and Ukrainian troops killed or injured in bloody war.
In the Davos speech that Zelensky
gave, he used also, the bloody wars.
We don't need to do that anymore. We do not ever need to have war, ever in the existence of time. But because Russia wants to take over that area, they're doing everything they can. But 2 million Russians, Ukrainian have died, and they haven't been able to come to the table of negotiation. And now they're going to work together to come to the negotiation, to the
table. I pray. And I pray that they'll be able
to do this. It's terrible. They don't need to do this. All these beautiful men, they need
to be at peace and come together.
It's easier
said being in
there, those beautiful chairs and their beautiful suits and their
beautiful minds.
But we have lost many people
to the 2 million people from this war.
The number of Russia's Ukrainian soldiers killed, wounded, missing during the war
we will reach 2 million by the spring,
according to a study published on Tuesday.
And this is terrible. We need to stop this. And we could have negotiations.
But these are, I call it the Holocaust. The Holocaust of war, of life. And we need to stop this. And I wanted to show you, see how California has a large Muslim
there were 300,000.
And then Texas has over 300,000. In New York, over 300,000 or more. And what's going to happen is, if we do not come together with rules and regulations
rules and regulations
and agreement, eventually they'll come like Hamas did and bombed out and killed 1,200 Israelis and 231 hostages. And this is
what could happen in the
future. For example, this could be Gaza, for example, and then that could be Texas, could be
this could be the whole Israel area
in Gaza, and then this area could be the area where all the influx is in the Islamic regime, and they could bomb out and cause trouble and try to kill all those people. because they want to kill people. They want to kill. The Islamic regime said they want to kill us, and they're after to take Western civilization in 100 years. And it's a 100-year plan. And just like it says, China was a 10-year plan, but we hope that's changed under President Trump's peace plan. But this is what we have to be careful about, the Islamic regime. And here up in New York, now we have that area where it's the Sharia law, Islamic regime. They do want Sharia law in New York and Minnesota. We have the problem with the Minnesota area, that we need to come together in truth,
in reconciliation, and they hire
these people. They hire the people, the Islamic regime that's against, that's
the liberals that are
with the Islamic regime, because
those are the people that
don't understand even the complexity of this. So
this is very, very serious. And look at California.
There's 500,000 of Islamic regime,
and that's in 500,000 Muslims, and it's rude now. Everyone
had to leave, and there's many hidden things there. And look at, there's
331,000 in
Texas,
in Minnesota,
there's
68,000. But look at here, there's 724
in New York. So I believe that's just like Elon says, why do they don't want us to go into those areas? Because I believe these are pinpoint areas. These are called offices set up. They had this plan for many years to come in
and infiltrate, and they could start like
a Gaza did, and just make a big bomb and kill everybody. You know, many people, because they
want to overtake
the land. Just like Hamas and Israel have many problems of the land at that time for many years, and they just
did it, and everyone was living in
peace.
So this is what I believe. It's
the same scenario that they want to take over, because it was the Islamic regime. Hamas, everything was fine, and there were very dense areas. For example, New York has a dense area of people, and then they know that they use the people as a human shield.
Just like in Minnesota, they use the people as a human shield to kill
America's freedom, the number of Muslims in U.S. state, but it's not.
It's the Islamic regime that wants to
hurt us, and
that's what we have to be very
careful. And so I want to show you that. So I want to show you
about see how Gaza
is just very small here, and then Israel, that's like New York
or Texas or California,
where they're infiltrated, and
then they could be right here,
concentrated in here, and then
they could they try to kill everybody. 1,200, and there's
mostly Palestinians in Gaza, but they did a
big bomb, and 1,200
they killed, and
231 hostages, and they're very sick people. The way they do it, they were torturous, the treachery, and there's hardly any. There's very few Israelites Israelites that
live there compared to Palestinians. This is very
serious, and no one wanted to take
Egypt. It was I apologize. It was a mistake. I asked why Gaza didn't want to take any of the Palestinians in, because it's very dense.
Because they said
that they're violent. That's why they didn't want to take them into Jordan, and please forgive me, brothers, in Jerusalem and Egypt, because he said they were so violent that they don't, and that was my mistake. I apologize, and I asked them all come together. There was 50 leaders and the Muslim leaders that came
together
and had a meeting, remember? And I'm the one that got them together, Lisa Luciarden. I got them to come there. And so this is what's going to happen, is that that's what could happen, 10, 20, 30 years down the line or sooner. And that's why we can't have separate places built up in Texas that are any nations or any New York. They have to take away all those rules and regulations, and we
can't build schools.
They can't allow to have Islamic schools to teach children Islam. That should not be in any state. They can't set up Muslim schools. If they want to use Muslim schools, they could go back to their country because of these problems and because they want to kill the people.
So let me show you that.
Also, there's a problem here internationally, not just in America. In Nigeria, Somalia, and look at Somalia, that's where they have the big problem in Minnesota. And that's what Elon Musk said. But I said that before Elon Musk. And actually, I'm the one that asked Elon Musk to come in. My name's Lisa Luchard. He wasn't political before. I worked and to get him. I had to find where he was, and then finally he answered the call. And he answered the call from President Trump.
But that's what he
said. They're hiding something in Minnesota. They're hiding these places in. They're hiding these things in
all the areas.
They're hiding
something in
every state. I believe that's why every state that we have
to look at all the states and correct them because they're hiding. The Islamic regime is hooked up to the elite communists. Nigeria,
Somalia, Egypt, and
Nigeria. Thousands and thousands of Christians have been killed in its persecution. And now in England, they won't allow
the Christians to have some type of event, but they allow the UK to pray. They allow the Muslims to pray in the
streets, and they better wake up.
And they better make new laws and rules.
And this is a very serious thing that we have to take in consideration. In Ecclesiastes, things happen every day in life, but we still have. That's a book in the Torah, actually.
The Old Testament. Things happen, but you
have to work with them. Do you understand? In the Bible, it's a Bible
book, but that doesn't mean that you give up. You find the answers. You know, we're responsible. So this
has been a problem.
So we need to
understand this has been a problem for years, but this problem is an issue where Israel and Palestine's a history of conflict explained. But what will happen? Because this has been since. See the dates here, sweethearts? The dates, they started in 1948. So that's like 50, 70 years. Okay? Okay, and then all of a sudden they had.
It was like a Holocaust. They've been fighting for the land all this time. But that is the land of the Israelites.
Israelis by history. But that's another story. So I wanted to
show you that and show you the
seriousness. So see how New York is over here at 724.
That's why they were able to get that person. I don't want it, Zoran, and his name means
slow poison. And he had a lot of crimes against him. And he doesn't like police.
He doesn't want police support. And there's many
in New York, Muslims. That's what could happen. See, it's more than 300,000
Muslims. But the Muslims, it's not all the Muslims, the Islamic regime, but that's what could happen.
This could be like Gaza, the whole United States, and then there could be a Muslim attack, which already has happened
by them doing violence one by one, you know, and that's why Texas cannot have those small cities built. I don't believe it should be allowed. There should be no Sharia law. There should be no schools allowed to be built in America that are Muslim, because they said they want to kill us all, everybody that's not Muslim. And there should be no young children be able to be married to a man that's older, 15, 17 years old. A child can't live neighbors like that. And the beating of women, and many other things that are incorrect. And so unfortunately, Minnesota is
been paid to do protesting, and they even said they had. But every state has to be corrected in undercover because there's geopolitical problems. Political problems, okay? In our country, okay? There's geopolitical problems in our country, and we need to come together and I wanted to show you this book that in A Rise to God's Truth, okay? In Rise to God's Truth, I talk about the naturalization and about the protection of our country and our respect, and we have to keep our traditions. So we need to come together and we need to realize for us as Christians that we are a country that we're Judeo-Christian nation, and that's the way we have to be. And only through God can we overcome all things. Even the Polish leader talks about that today. That the only hope is our Christianity is God to save our country. And I heard that Russia wants to go in Lithuania and Poland after. These are things that we have to be careful. So it's only in Jesus Christ that we could overcome all things, because that's our foundation. So we have to realize we all need to come to the truth, and only in Him can we save our countries. And that's why we have to be careful, because there's different forms of war. There's also the all the other things. World Health Control, World Economic Control. They're trying to do ID controls of the people. It has to digital ID, all those things. We have to be respectful and understand these are we're a Judeo-Christian nation, and look closer to the truth, all of us. Only through God's love can we overcome that. When all these rules and regulations were written in the Judeo-Christian nations, they were written by the highest level of ethics, even in the Jewish nation. So we need to come, and that's why it's Judeo-Christian. It's Old and New Covenant. That's what that means. And so we have Old and New Covenants that have power of God's love and promise when we seek His truth. I appreciate your time. This is Lisa Lucci Arden, and I know that everything is going to be protected in America. We have to protect America, and that's by God's love and our covenant, our Old and New Covenant, by the power of God's love. When we walk in obedience, in unity, and love God first, and put no other gods before thee. See, allowing us to have Sharia law or any Muslim culture in our country that is violent, or that could be violent, is not serving our nation, or our Constitution, or Declaration of Independence, or Bill of Rights, or any of those. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. We need to come together and see all the complexities. This is very complex, and how we need to come together as a nation across the world and see the beauty, and why we have to ask, why didn't all the Muslims come to the other areas? Do you understand? Why did they come to the other areas? Because they weren't accepted, but they want to overtake the world. That's the problem. This is a long-term plan that they wanted to overtake the world. In Iran, it's terrible. Many have died in Iran, and that is the focal point today, that we have to be careful. Islamic regime, many thousands have died in the Islamic regime now, under the Islamic regime, and we need to protect them and ask for peace and reconciliation right away. And they have been, for 45 years, the Islamic regime has killed the people's peace in death, in covenant of death. And before 45 years ago, it used to be ruled by a king, a beautiful country of happiness. Now it's a hellhole, covenant of death. Thousands and thousands have been blinded, tortured, and in death because of the Islamic regime. And that we don't want that to happen to America, because that will happen if we allow the Islamic regime to take over, in just like they took over. They tried Afghanistan, and now it's worse than ever. So it's terrible. We need to come together, and we need to let Ukraine have their life. And here's Russia, and that is a terrible thing that he didn't stop the war because he had the power, Putin. And there's China, and China came together and gave monies to Iran and warfare to kill people, innocent people.
That's terrible.
It's terrible in Africa, in Somalia, in Egypt. They kill and persecute Jews and Christians. This is terrible. This is very terrible. And
they have big lands here. Why don't they just stay in their own land? But this is a very serious thing.
And there's Afghanistan, and the children and the women are in big torture. In UK, I heard in the ISIS, he's allowed them to send back brides
for ISIS
in UK. This is terrible. And so these are all our enemies. And then India, right here, India gives money to Russia to support the war. So India has blood on their hands.
We ask for sanctions, but no one listens.
They buy oil
all the time from Russia, so they could Russia could get money for the oil from India. Isn't that terrible? And they're one of the top people in
Taiwan too.
Taiwan over here. Here's
China.
Okay, China here. See?
Isn't that funny? I said
China was there because they're part of Russia. They're supporting. But we pray that China has a new leaders, because China, years ago, they used to be the most beautiful
world leaders
under democracy and freedom. The legendary warrior. Look it up. But
over here is there's North Korea.
Little North Korea. They have the audacity to give monies
and products
to kill the people
of Ukraine, and they're Jewish. They're Jewish. It's terrible. Right there, Russia.
So
who gives the money? China gives the money to Russia because they buy their oil.
And India, those are the main people in Taiwan, and other people in Turkey.
Turkey over here, way over
here. This is terrible. We need to come together in truth. And
see, these are the Western civilization
that we need to come together to save. And there's Poland. He's talking about Poland, and Belarus was ruined and taken.
You know, they had no choice. In Lithuania, he wants to go into Russia.
All these areas. Russia needs to be stopped.
So all these areas
need to come together in truth. And I believe that Ukraine should be in the
NATO and protected. And all these areas need
to come together.
All these areas, and
that's what I was saying. That we can't
see it on the map here, but Greenland needs to be protected, and I believe that America and Greenland
need to work together.
But I believe that
we need to come
together in truth and reconciliation and protect our nations. And Ukraine should be in NATO. And all these areas
should come
together with America
and be friends and
kind and work together and support each other by having
defense missiles. And it's by peace
of showing that you have
strength. And there's Ireland. We have to keep Ireland. There's a lot of Muslims there. There's a lot of Muslims in Germany.
In Germany, we have to have new laws.
In France, there's a lot of Muslims. We have to new laws. In Spain, there's a lot of Muslims, and they're trying, and immigrants. They want to take over, and they want to hire and bring a lot of Indians in Spain.
And that's the wrong thing
to do, because they need to keep the
Judeo-Christian nation, and they need to leave them at home in their
own areas here that are from their own country. They use them as a political
tool, a political ideology.
A tool they use.
They use the immigrant as a political tool, a shield to try to take over
the nations. In Spain,
and in Germany and EU, that lady
Ursula wants to bring all these people from India. Okay, these people from India over here.
In India,
they want to bring them over and put them over here to
All EU,
I disagree. It's the same thing they're trying to do, open borders with America. And all they came in, and then it was the geopolitical powers and trying to take over America and take our freedoms and our jobs. And then there's Islamic regime. That's the same thing that's going to happen here if they do that. And why would they let open for India to come in? There's so many people that need jobs here. Many people need jobs that they could do, and they're more qualified. This is
wrong. It's the same
way. In Italy, there's many jobs that need to be done, but the people
need to have the jobs first.
The original legacy. She should not let India come in and have open borders and bring all these people in. That's what India does. That's one of India's professions, is they bring
people. They hire
other countries hire India for jobs. That's what Amazon did, and maybe still does, and other places. So that
before AI,
very bad, and other big companies.
This is very serious. We need to come together with
all this reconciliation
and realize. And there's the
Philippines.
If China tries to get Taiwan, all
these little countries in these little areas will be hurt.
We need to save them so they can have their individual life. And this is terrible. All the wars in
Africa, they take away all
the greatness of the commodities, and they abuse them. This is very serious, and we need to come back in truth, and we need to pray for Iran that this war is stopped. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And remember, we as Judeo-Christian nation need to come together with truth and reconciliation. All these nations are Judeo-Christian nations that they want to take over. It's not that I'm making a story of my
subjectiveness.
I'm being objective in showing you the history of these nations that take over, that are trying to take over Europe. And we have problems with Iran. For many years, they've been enslaved by Islamic regime, and we need to stop it now. Thank you so much. God bless you.